Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the Blood Parliament documentary done by the BBC News has been a topic of discussion and a bone of contention within the circles of power in the country, as a lot of people involved in William Ruto's government try to take control and discredit the said documentary that was done exposing the police officers, or let me say military personnel, that have been named to have been involved in the shooting that led to death of different young Kenyans during the 25th of June 2024 demonstrations that led to vandalization of the Parliament of Kenya, the occupying of Parliament, and the occupying of the Supreme Court together with the City Hall in Nairobi. It seems that finally the government has got a hold of the BBC and they have been able to stop the BBC from continuing to air the said story. And now, according to the details that we are receiving, is that they have succeeded in haltering with the screening of the documentary Blood Parliament abruptly. Now, the BBC Africa's private screening of Blood Parliament was cancelled abruptly hours before the event. The documentary, which investigated the 2024 protest in Kenya against finance bill in Nairobi and their devastating aftermath, guests were directed to watch the film on BBC Africa through social media as alternative plans are explored. Now, Nairobi was meant to be an evening of powerful storytelling and investigative journalism, which has turned into disappointment as of today. The private screening of BBC Africa High's documentary Blood Parliament was cancelled just hours before it was set to begin. The event, scheduled for 6 p.m. at Unseen Nairobi, aimed to premiere the hard-hitting 35-minute documentary examining the timeline of the 2024 protest against Kenya's proposed finance bill. Now, the film pieces together a forensic timeline of the demonstrations, are revealing the devastating aftermath, including the death of several protesters and raising questions about responsibility and accountability of the current government and even the police itself. Now, Omabe MP, who is also a member of parliament affiliated with the ODM party, went ahead to call for the ban of BBC in Kenya after exposing link to KDF to after expose linking KDF to parliament killings. Now, however, when we speak about the message that was given by one Kaluma, I want to read it out loud and clear. He said, "Unfortunately, we are no longer able to proceed with the." No, this is the message given by the BBC. They said we are unfortunately uh, no longer able to proceed with the screening tonight. We are very disappointed not to be able to share the documentary with our guests as planned. However, we are working to explore alternative options and will be in touch accordingly if an alternative solution is found. With no specific reason for the abrupt cancellation was provided, BBC Africa High reassured guests that Blood Parliament is available on their social media platforms, though they couldn't do the said screening. Now let's get back to one Peter Kaloma. Kaloma has been a bone of contention on matters parliament for a very long time, because since the members of parliament, I mean the ODM, got into an agreement with the government of the day, they have been singing praises to this government and they don't want anything that might, I mean, taint the name of the government of Kenya. Now, the Omabe Town Member of Parliament, Peter Kaloma, called on the government to ban the British Broadcasting Corporation BBC in Kenya following a damning expose on Sunday, April 27th. Taking to social media on Monday, the ODM MP stated that the documentary dubbed Blood Parliament sought to incite Kenyans to fury. Due to its crucial role in shaping societal conversations, Kaluma argued that the BBC's license in Kenya be revoked as the documentary was twisted, partial, and reckless in his opinion. Now, I quote him: ban the BBC in Kenya. The role played by the media in any democracy is too important to be discharged irresponsibly. The media can build a greater democracy or destroy an otherwise stable state. Lest we forget, the Rwanda mass annihilation would not have occurred were it not for reckless media. I think some people need some tutoring on matters media and on matters what democracy really means. Democracy means whenever anybody has a contrary opinion against the government, they have to share it as long as they have the evidence. And if you are somebody that has really watched the documentary aired by BBC, you will come into conclusion that they did their thorough analysis. They did the said forensic analysis to come up with the said decision of pinpointing the people that really shot and killed the young men and women that died on Parliament Road on 25th of June 2024. Now, getting back, Blood Parliament, a documentary by the BBC, he said, whatever. He said it's twisted, partial, reckless, intended to incite chaos in Kenya. The relevant agencies of the government of Kenya must act fast to withdraw the BBC license in Kenya. Now, let me ask. If this is the type of people that we have in parliament, how many people should stop operating in Kenya? I mean, how many people shouldn't even be working in this country? Anybody that has a contrary opinion towards the government, whether they are a business person, whether they are media house, whether they are investors, their licenses should be revoked. And we ask ourselves the very fundamental question every day. The rantings and the innuendos perpetuated by one Peter Kaloma for a very long time on social media using his official social media channels, if they were taken as seriously as the government takes serious on those that speak about the government, they speak about the ill intent of the government, then Peter Kaloma should be in jail because he I mean, he has even surpassed the rate at which he enjoys his fundamental rights of expression through social media. Mm. Kaloma's call for the ban eerily mirrors the event that followed the 2018 mock swearing in of ODM party leader Raila Odinga that saw the three television stations and several local radio stations taken off the air during the occasion, preventing Kenyans from following the proceedings. Remember the tyranny of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Now, the BBC documentary, which featured the events of the 25th anti-finance bill protest that culminated in the succumbing of over 60 people has gripped the nation since its release, with Kenyans reacting differently. It featured interviews with vocal activist Boniface Mwangi, Anifa Adani, a student journalist Alan Ademba, who covered the protest on the front line, the Law Society of Kenya President Faith Odhiambo, and Embakasi East Member of Parliament Honorable Babu Owino. In the expos, an analysis of over 5,000 images taken during the protest revealed that the Kenya Defense Forces officers were behind the shootings of at least three protesters. Although the reaction varied, most Gen Zs who participated in the protest expressed feelings of horror and a reminder of the tragedy that took their comrades' lives. The BBC document touched me somewhere. Man, to hell with this government and all it stands for. At least we know it isn't standing with its citizens. I mean, we all know that. We all know they have never stood with their citizens. And I quote a tweet by one Miguna who said, the lawyer Miguna recalled having relayed information about hundreds of innocent people killed in Githurai and cremated in Kahawa barracks in June 2024 and called for investigation into the matter, noting at the very least we must demand for an independent investigation and judicial inquiry into the brutalities committed by police, military, NIS, and Kenya Forest Service between 2024 and 2025. We need accountability and justice for the victims. Kiambu Senator Karugu Wadhango simply wrote, "Watching these, it hurts. It surely hurts." In the midst of these were people, mainly politicians and bloggers, aligned with the government who sought to discredit the documentary. I want to read also some certain explanation that has been done on reason why the KDF was at the Parliament building during the time that people occupied Parliament that day. And listen, there is one who says, I am not, this is Jerry Don, says, I'm not a military expert, but KDF was deployed and they sent one guy, a lone soldier, one person. But here is the truth. KDF was not deployed on 25th of June at the exact time that the people were killed. What they're telling us is that the protesters breached parliament on the side of Jomo Kenyatta Mausoleum, which is where the tomb of Jomo Kenyatta is, and it is protected by KDF 24/7. So you mean they saw that the Gen Z were going to take the remains of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta or something? Sometimes you have you have to even explain when you reason the way you are reasoning, you tend to tell us of the type of people you are. No? Now I think I will end it there, but I really would love to hear your comments in regards to this. You know, the government is doing everything in its power to censor media. But remember, this is British, Bana. This is Britain. The media is from Britain, and they have not violated any rights. They have not violated anybody's right by airing the said documentary. They haven't pointed out a name of somebody and said that, you know what, this somebody and this somebody did this and this. The police were asked for their opinions in regards to the said shootings. They denied. They said that they have not been. I mean, they even said that the matters are under investigation. So having people with IQs like that of Kaloma and one Robert Alai being the people that speak for the government makes the government even lose its respect from the people of the day. For now, that's what's up. Make sure you subscribe. See you in our next video. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.